Hi, this is Glenn, and today I'm going to walk you through one of the things I'm very passionate about, doing fashion illustrations, and I'm going to share some stuff about myself too along the way. I'm going to illustrate an original design, and my model will be a black woman. Let's start with working with her face first. So, just like any other artist, I actually start with doing the rough sketch and then finalizing outline. And yeah, I apologize because I forgot to record the first part of the video where I do that. But yeah, on this video, I'll speed up some parts and then cut some bits of it because it'll actually consume a lot of time. With regards to faces, I always make sure that the model is pretty handsome when I draw guys. So usually when I feel like my drawing is not headed to how I imagined it to be, what I do is I don't continue it and I'd rather start all over again. Well, I think you might have already met some artists online or watched some time-lapse painting wherein an artwork does not initially look good and then afterwards it turns out such a bomb. Well, I'm not that kind of artist. And well, I actually get jealous of those type of artists is they seem to have that hope and the skill for their initially not good artworks to turn out good. But for me, I don't have that skill nor the trust with myself. Once I see that it's becoming ugly already, I would rather not waste my time to try to make it better, but I'd rather go back to scratch. That is actually one of the reasons why I prefer doing digital stuff. Because when you do mistakes, you can undo or start all over again without wasting any of your materials, except for your time. So imagine myself working with acrylic or oils perhaps, with this kind of attitude. There are definitely lots of materials that are going to be wasted and most importantly money because most of them are very pricey. But still acrylic and oil painting are some stuff that I'd really want to try in the future. So see how serious I am with my models. Cause yeah, for me when doing fashion illustrations, although the main focus is on the dress, a pretty face really steps the game up. I've also grown fond of drawing black models. If you can see on my previous works, most of them are actually light skinned. And one of the reasons why I previously don't like to work with dark skin tones is the problem I get with highlights. So what happens is when I add highlights to some parts, it it looks oily, and I've also encountered problems with tint. So just like on my laptop when I'm working with dark skin tones, it looks good, but when I save it on my mobile device, it doesn't. It somehow looks reddish or yellowish or something like orange, and that's not good. But since this is something that I'd really like to be comfortable working with, and due to my clients' demands, I gradually learned and discovered some stuff myself so that the model's skin tone will turn out good, even though it's black. Speaking of clients, most of you might be asking if I do earn from this stuff. Well, yes, I do. Well, initially, I do fashion illustration for the purpose of entertaining myself or distressing myself from all the stress that the world can give. But later on, I actually realized that I could actually earn by doing this stuff. Well, the difficult part is getting your client. So, the most essential advice I could give to you if you are an illustrator or someone who's good at it is to build your own portfolio. Well, what I did, I initially didn't do that, but what I did is I actually used a social media application to somehow serve as my portfolio or a gallery. I started with Facebook, and then later on I decided to create a separate Instagram account solely for my artworks. So when I finish a piece, I upload it on that account until I gathered my audience. So getting someone to commission for you is actually quite difficult because in social media, you cannot look for your clients, but rather the clients will look for you. And for that to happen, you need to have quality and promising artworks on your account, and you have to keep it active. And well, in my personal experience, it actually took me a while for a client to discover me, and once I got one, well, this is another tip. Make sure to provide them the outputs they expect, or even something better, so they'll commission you again. And that's exactly what happened to me. I met this client who has a fashion line in Florida, United States. She checked my works, left me a message for commission proposals, and well, obviously I took the opportunity and I made sure that I provided her impressive outputs. Now I'm still doing commissions for her for 3 years already and counting, and we've become good friends too. So yeah, if you're planning to earn from your talent too, you can try what I suggested in my work for you too. Well, you might have observed earlier there's like an image of a rough sketch for the body. Well, that's one of the techniques I do to lessen the amount of time I work with a single piece. What I do is I sketch it first on a plain paper, take a photo of it, and put it in Adobe Photoshop. That'll be a lot easier because you've already set good proportions for a model, so you can proceed with the next step right away, which is the line art. So for the dress, I'd really want the design to center on Africa. So I use some bright colors and textile prints as well. So the general look is actually inspired by a piece from a collection from House of Darion, Beyonce's fashion brand, and the textiles are a reference to some of the tribes in the African continent. Well, let's just go on with this process and see how this will turn out. This time I'm going to share a little detail about myself. Well, art has always been with me since I was young. I remember my mom told me that as young as 3, she already observed my interest in arts. And it was until I was in high school when I discovered that she has been keeping my artworks for me to see when I grow up. My mom's so sweet. Well, I was able to see how hilarious my drawings are. Imagine, when I draw a human figure, the head starts at the top of the page, and then the toe ends at the bottom of the page. So it kind of looks like an elongated alien. And surprisingly, my fond of illustrating female figures started at that young age. And my very first inspiration was this girl. It's Dharma. Well, drawing for me started as a hobby. If you can only see all my previous notebooks, like there is not a single one of them without a few pages filled with sketches, especially those at the back. Until well, time went on, and then my former teachers, were able to recognize my talent in arts, and that's when my journey with art competition began. I usually compete for poster making contests, and initially I don't win or even place at all. When I was in my first few years in high school, that's still the same thing. Until, believe it or not, on my very last school year in high school, all the art competitions there are, I joined them all and I won first place. So that's actually one of the feat that I'm very much proud of. See how indecisive I am with how the design should look like? Like I just changed the whole dress. It took me a lot of time to work on those details, but when I saw that it's not doing good, I changed it. This time I'm working with a design that is more modern, but still with a touch of Africa for the details. Let's see how this one will turn out. Well, now we're working with the rest of the details of the gown, and it looks quite good. Well, a whole lot better than the previous one. And yeah, I almost forgot. In illustrating, I use graphic tablet. This is how it looks like. And this is actually where I do the strokes with a pen. It has nibs. And well, this is actually already my second graphic tablet. The first one I purchased it on 2017, and I just recently bought another one because the first one has a lot of scratches already, and this one is a few months old only, and I consider this stuff as my babies. And for the software, I used Adobe Photoshop. I learned using this when I was in high school. There's a grading period, I think that, well, I think that I was in second year high school, where we are taught the basics of on how to use the software, Adobe Photoshop, and well, I learned the basics from school, and the rest of the things I learned with regards to Adobe Photoshop, I learned them by self-study. So, well, recently I also got interested in doing animations, so I decided to give After Effects a try, and so as not to waste time. It's actually good to learn new things, and here are some of the animations I did. Finally, we're done with this piece, and I'm very excited to share it to you all. So this has been Glenn. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, enjoy!